Das ist schön. Mhm. Fuchs, er muss Mod wieder rein. So.
Ich bin jetzt schon mal auf dem deutschen Kanal, bin ich im Raum zu hören. Ist das so gedacht, dass man dann hier draußen im Raum hört?
Ja, Entschuldigung, ja, das ist so gedacht. Denn die Leute auf der Bühne müssen ja das Deutsche vom Herrn Sefcovic verstehen.
Okay, das Problem dabei ist, dass ich mich natürlich jetzt immer wieder in der Rückkopplung höre. Also es geht gerade noch, aber es ist ein bisschen, ist das immer die ganze Zeit so, ja? Dass man
Immer in der deutschen Sprache, es ist nur in der deutschen Sprache.
okay, gut.
Die englische ist hier nicht mit zu hören, weil das ja nur auf den Herrn Sefcovic-Rechner auf die andere Seite fliegt.
Ich würde mal schnell ins
Ja, bitte.
Englische überschalten.
Ja.
Das heißt, okay, jetzt ist das.
Mich auch schon im Ohr haben.
Das höre ich alles wunderbar, das klappt echt klasse. Jetzt auf dem englischen Kanal höre ich auch diese Schallen nicht, wunderbar. Okay, ich hoffe mal, dass es die anderen dann, also sind ja bloß die Moderatoren und der Herr Fuchs, glaube ich, die da vorne stehen, dass die das nicht verwirrt, wenn. Hören die den Herrn Šefčovič dann trotzdem noch parallel dazu?
Den Herrn Sefcovic, den hören die parallel leicht drunter, was quasi das Gedolmetscht, das sie im Ohr haben. Und
Okay.
um die Orientierung nicht zu verlieren, haben sie mit minus 20 dB das Originalsignal drunter.
Okay, gut, hoffentlich verwirrt die das nicht, ist aber deren Problem letztlich. Und außerdem muss ich ja noch dazu gestehen, ich glaube, das macht meine Kollegin, den Herrn Šefčovič ins Deutsche zu dolmetschen. Das heißt, das wird für die dann in erster Linie relevant. Aber trotzdem, gut zu wissen.
Ja.
Gut, also Sie hören alles, wir hören alles, super Sache, danke.
Das ist super. Also ich habe hier die ganze... Schön. Ja, wir haben das auch hinreichend mit 5 Personen durchexerziert gestern, die Bühnensituation, wenn dann dort hier vorne jemand steht, der es verstehen muss. Draußen haben wir einen Zoom-Teilnehmer in die jeweilige Konferenz geschalten, dass es auch hier auf dem Ohr zu hören ist und so weiter. Also wir haben den ganzen Signalweg mehrfach mit Leuten gestern durchgetestet.
Beachtlich aus.
Ja.
Das ist eine ganz schöne Technik.
Ja.
Hast du
Gut.
das dran? Genau. Wenn das dann, Entschuldigung, wenn das dann also ins Deutsche geht, spricht der Herr Šefčovič. Ja. Das hört man also im Raum, dass die das auch auf der Bühne verstehen. Das ist halt so ein bisschen wieder, du hörst deine eigene Stimme ein bisschen. Stört aber nicht, es ist zu ertragen. Ja? Ja,
Ja, falls was sein sollte, falls es zu laut sein sollte, muss ich es halt einfach leiser machen.
aber vom Hören her ist echt perfekt.
Schön, super.
In den deutschen Kanal sprechen, dann höre ich mir das mal an, ob man das auf der Bühne ein bisschen
Genau.
leiser machen könnte,
Das-
damit sie sich nicht so oft doppelt hören.
Genau, wir arbeiten dran. Sehr schön. So, ich muss mein Mikro ausmachen.
Das ist
das Mikro aufmache, ist das der Pegel, der dort reinfliegen wird. Genau, und dann kannst du den halt irgendwie so pegeln, dass, genau, mach erstmal den einen fertig. Ja, hey, hey, hey. Genau, und das ist völlig in Ordnung. Und das zweite stellst du genauso ein.
We all must be not treated.
Good afternoon, Vice President Shevchevich, Minister Altmaier, State Premier Wojtke, ladies and gentlemen on the screens. Welcome from wherever you might look at us. You might have expected our CEO Martin Müller and not myself, but unfortunately he can't be with us. To convey his best wishes. He asked me to step in for him, which I am delighted to do. But now let's get to the first virtual groundbreaking ceremony in the long history of BAS. Special times require special measures, and of course we tackle them in an optimistic manner. Ladies and gentlemen, we're delighted about your interest in BASF and in our battery materials and in our Schwarzheide site, which just celebrated its 30th anniversary. With the Green Deal, the European Union formulated its goal clearly. Until 2050, Europe is become the first climate-neutral continent. This endeavor is rather ambitious. Whole industries will have to develop new techniques, so we need creativity and innovation. This is the call of the hour. So we say it is possible. To that end, we need technology, investment, and the right legal framework. Only then can we achieve all what we want in Europe. How this can work, how these three conditions interlock with each other, will be shown in a couple of minutes. BASF invests in future technologies, such as electromobility. This is part of our DNA. Today, we give the official start to a plant which will develop and manufacture cathode materials. For the performance of a battery, these are of enormous importance. From 2022, we want to offer to our customers climate-friendly, high-performing, good batteries. With this investment, we not only strengthen our Schwarzheide site in the Lausitz region, but we also strengthen Europe, because the establishment of a value chain for batteries is one of the important projects in Europe. This groundbreaking ceremony today will be a nucleus for much more. It will be the beginning of way more solutions in the field of energy storage and battery recycling. At the end of the day, all our activities serve one purpose: achieving the targets of the Green Deal. We here at BASF are proud to make our contribution to that end. And then I'd like to thank all our employees who have worked so much for this purpose and who continue to do so. I'm certain of it. Mr. Shevchevich, Mr. Altmaier, Mr. Wojtke, I'd like to thank you and your teams. Of course, also on behalf of Mr. Brudermüller, we are deeply grateful for your support for this project. Without you, and of course we know that we would not be able to do this groundbreaking ceremony today, and without you, there would not be a European battery value chain. We are looking forward to further cooperation with you, through which all we can jointly show how politicians, society, and businesses, if we are open for modern technology and if we have the right legal framework, we will achieve our climate protection goals. And at the same time, we will establish a European value chain. We are convinced that this is the only possible solution in order to tackle the enormous challenges that we face. I wish all of you an exciting day, both online and on the ground at Schwarzheide, and I'm looking forward to our panel discussions. So I'd like to hand over to Schwarzheide, to our presenter, Ms. Schöne. Mr. Liebel, thank you very much for these warm welcoming words, and thank you very much for taking Mr. Brudermüller's place so quickly, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Ladies and gentlemen, on my behalf, I would also like to welcome you to our virtual groundbreaking ceremony. You just heard, my name is Susanne Schöne, and I'm delighted to guide you through this virtual groundbreaking ceremony. And over the next hour, we have a lot in store for you. On the one hand, of course, we have the groundbreaking virtually because of the pandemic, and then we are looking forward to Jürgen Fuchs, the site CEO at Schwarzheide. And after that, we want to learn a bit more about this new plant, and we will hear about that from Peter Schumacher, who will explain to us how the plant will work, and he's going to show us how we can decrease the CO2 footprint for material production in Germany and Europe. And this is going to show us how BASF is tackling the future and is facing the challenging of electromobility. And this very topic, electromobility, will be the big topic at our panel discussion, the contribution it can make in order to achieve the goals of the European Green Deal. So you see, we have a lot in store in the next hour, which is why we should not waste any time, but should get right into it, into the virtual groundbreaking ceremony.
Welcome everyone. I'm Peter Schumacher, President of BASF Catalyst Division. Thank you for joining us for this groundbreaking event today to celebrate our new battery materials plant in Schwarzheide, Germany. Cathode active materials are determining cost and performance of batteries to a great extent. In Schwarzheide, we will be able to manufacture them with an industry-leading CO2 footprint. I now hand over to Michael Bayer, Senior Vice President of BASF's Global Battery Materials Unit.
Thank you, Peter. A very warm welcome also from my side. I'm currently in Shanghai, where the global headquarters of battery materials business is located. The groundbreaking of our new plant in Schwarzheide is a key stepping stone for BASF's battery material business. And it's really a pity that we cannot celebrate this event together with you, our customers and partners in Germany due to the current circumstances. The European investment would have not been possible without our customers and partners in Asia. Our joint venture in Japan delivered very important contributions to this project. Let me therefore now hand over to Hibino-san, the CEO of our BASF Toda Battery Materials joint venture in Japan.
Thanks, Michael. I'm Hibino. I'm at the launch site of BASF Toda Battery Materials LLC, so-called BTBL. Our team in Japan has been part of this investment project from the early stages. We are happy to share our expertise to ensure that the new plant capacity, Schwarzheide, will be successfully commissioned in 2022. I'm now glad to transfer the shoulder to Daniel Schaudenfelder, Vice President for Battery Materials in Europe.
Thank you, Hibino-san. I'm Daniel. Welcome to the European region. I'm delighted to celebrate the start of the construction of our cathode active materials plant in Schwarzheide, Germany. Together with the investment of our precursor cathode active materials plant in Schwarzheide, Finland, we are establishing a unique, short, reliable and sustainable battery materials supply chain in Europe. Let me hand over now to Stender, Managing Director of BASF Battery Materials Finland in Schwarzheide, the future home of our precursor plant.
Thanks, Daniel. Congratulations to the progress at Schwarzheide. I am Tor, and behind me you see a picture from our future precursor site in Harjavalta, Finland. We already started with the construction above ground early summer this year, and following the daily construction progress of the plant is really energizing and motivating the entire project team. And now I want to hand over the shovel to Jürgen Fuchs, Managing Director of BASF in Schwarzheide.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm very delighted not only to celebrate, but actually do the groundbreaking for our new battery materials plant here at our site in Schwarzheide. This is truly a moment to celebrate and to remember.
BASF. We create chemistry.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what a perfect groundbreaking ceremony looks like in 2022. And as you heard, as early as in 2 years, the plant will be finished. And of course, we would have liked to celebrate this ceremony together with you on the ground. It's not possible this year. Instead, we are here in a studio, and I say we because I'd like to welcome site manager Jürgen Fuchs. Nice to see you, even though at a little distance. Welcome to Schwarzheide. It's a great honor for me to welcome you. I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Šefčovič, Vice President of the EU Commission and Commissioner for Interinstitutional Relationships and Foresight. I'd also like to welcome our Federal Minister for Economic Affairs and Energy, Peter Altmaier. State Premier Dietmar Woidke, very warm welcome to you as well. I'd like to welcome Uwe Liebel, Chairman of the Board of the Schwarzheide GmbH and President of European Science and Group Management. I'd also like to welcome Peter Schumacher, President of the CC Catalyst Division of BASF. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, the day of symbolic groundbreaking ceremony is a very special day for our site here in the Lausitz region. For 85 years, this location has been around, and for 30 years, the site has been a member of our BAS family. The site has a long tradition which people working there face a lot of challenges, and thanks to their great ability to adapt and thanks to their creativity, they were able to manage all these challenges. We are very proud that we were given the award for this momentous investment, which is going to take place over the next couple of years. This production site is the single biggest investment that BASF has done at this site for 30 years. So we thank you for the great deal of trust that BASF's board and the CC group bestowed upon us, our site and our staff. With today's day, the site faces a new era, a starting point into a highly exciting field of the future, which is electromobility. Thus, we will become part of the European value chain, electromobility. We will become part of a new business unit of BASF, and we are part of the global realignment, and we are delighted that we can expand our product portfolio with this new field within the CC Catalyst division. The groundbreaking ceremony is the starting point. Our goal is to be ready in 2 years' time and start operation. We are well placed to that end and are well prepared. In order to successfully develop such fields, we need political support. The European support program IPCEI gives the crucial impulse for Europe to create a competitive, holistic system for electromobility. We are delighted that we are part of this program. I'd also like to thank to the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy and the state government of Brandenburg for their support. Mr. Altmaier, Dietmar Woidke, thank you very much for your personal commitment and for your personal support. The personal support that we enjoy with the state government of Brandenburg is one important building block in order to be successful with such an important project, and thus also managing the structural changes that are going on in the Lausitz region. At our site, we have many benefits. We have developed areas. We have highly skilled staff. We have a competitive infrastructure, and we have sufficient renewable energies in the immediate vicinity of our site. The latter is a wonderful condition for our site in order to become a location for a CO2 neutral location and incorporate renewables into the manufacturing process of cathode material manufacturing. this investment, which will create about 150 new jobs, is an important signal for the Lausitz region and will change the region characterized by lignite mining towards a more sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very ceremonious occasion with the creation of the manufacturing site for cathode active materials. The site will not only change its appearance, but we also embark on a promising future with a high-end product and do so sustainably. I am with Kafka, who said that ways are created by walking on them. So let's embark on this journey together. Mr. Fuchs, thank you very much. I have the feeling that you can't stop celebrating, in particular after the 30th anniversary of BASF and the groundbreaking ceremony. And ladies and gentlemen, I promised to you that we will hear about this new plant, and we do so by handing over back to Ludwigshafen to Peter Schumacher, who is President CC Catalyst of BASF Corporation, and he's going to tell us a bit more about the new plant. Mr. Schumacher.
Thank you, Ms. Schöne. Welcome, Vice President Schäfschowitz, Minister Altmaier, and Prime Minister Voigtke. I'm particularly glad to welcome you here today, and I'm especially glad that all of our customers, partners, and colleagues are able to join us for this event today. Thank you very much, Uwe, for your warm welcome, and Jürgen for organizing this very special event, which is very close to our hearts. Our new site for high-energy cathode active material is the first step of our multi-layer investment plan for battery materials. We'll use precursors from our Finland plant, which will be supplied with locally available nickel and cobalt. I believe that the timing of our investment couldn't be better. At the moment, we're seeing in Europe an increasing interest in electric mobility. There was a time of uncertainty, but now we not only have more attractive models, but we can see a European value chain being created, which supports the local and regional car manufacturers. At the moment, there is a fleet target of maximum 95 grams CO2 per kilometer driving range, which is a first important step in the climate change in which electric mobility will play an important part. When somebody drives an e-vehicle, there's practically no carbon emission. But that means that the CO2 footprint during the production process is more and more in the focus, and the battery industry can make an important contribution here because the battery production requires a lot of resources compared to a combustion engine. More than 40% of the entire carbon dioxide during the production process can be allocated to the battery production. Half of that falls back on cathode active materials, which is why we're here today. These are 13 to 25 grams CO2 per kilometer driving range. And this is what we'd like to change, and we can do that with our Schwarzheide site. We'll be industrial leaders when it comes to the carbon footprint. There's four major measures that we'll take. Firstly, the production procedures of BASF. These are one of our core strengths. They're so smart that we require significantly less energy than other stakeholders who are mainly in Asia these days. We're talking about a reduction of power consumption by more than 45%. Secondly, our plants use electricity that has a very low carbon footprint or is generated from renewable energy. Thirdly, our resource partners use a very rich nickel ore and has one of the lowest CO2 emissions in the entire industry. And lastly, fourthly, we have much shorter supply chains, which play a very important part in this very beneficial CO2 overall impact. From cradle to grave, we achieve under 10 grams of CO2 per kilometer driving range. So our cathode active material has a 30% lower impact than what we currently see in European electric vehicles. And in the future, that will be improved even more. We're working on a very innovative recycling procedure, closing the circle, and we will be able to reduce CO2 emissions by over 60%. Here at BASF, the customer is at the core of what we do, especially in times like these. We saw how critical local supply and resilient supply chains are. This doesn't just shorten transportation routes, but also we have to rely less on imports from remote regions. This saves a lot of time and money compared to having to ship large amounts of materials across the oceans. And that supports our sustainability goals, but for our customers, that means secure and reliable supply chains here in Europe. Now let's talk about the actual products. What will we do at the Schwarzheide plant? Let me summarize it like this: fascinating chemistry, great products, the latest generation of high energy cathode active material. We have a technological flexibility which allows us to support our customers. We can tailor the products to their needs, whether it's increased range or quicker charging times. We will be able to offer the entire palette of cathode active material in Europe. We'll use our experience from our Asian and American facilities using different recipes, NCMs, NCMAs, and different recipes. Currently, we see a trend towards products with over 80 to 90% of nickel content, which is anything but easy. But with our innovative approach, we will be able to manage. Now you have the opportunity to get a glance at the construction site at Schwarzheide. Ladies and gentlemen, I would prefer to have you here with me today. But I also think it's a very strong signal that we have people from all over Europe and the globe. Bring them together. This is a testimony to our strength, to the unity of the European battery industry. Our investment in Schwarzheide and our commitment to electric mobility in Europe are the result of a unique commitment between the EU, Germany, the federal state of Brandenburg, the European Battery Alliance, and the important project of common interests were created to have a strong European value chain. We are glad that we can make our contribution, that we are able to do it and allowed to do it. We are investing in a new complex field which will require a lot of capital along the value chain. Most of our competition is mainly from Asia, where costs are generally lower for labor costs, machine costs, and it also benefits from an early start into electric mobility. Despite our courage and the risks, we wouldn't have been able to carry this financial burden and the challenges without some help. So just for BASF and others to enter the market. Here in Germany, this state aid is provided by the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy and the Federal State of Brandenburg to drive the required transformation processes. Thank you very much to all of you who have supported this. Let us take a look into the future. Europe is driving sustainability and the social goals. The number of battery-driven vehicles will increase to 4 million by 2025. As a first step, our plant will be able to supply batteries for 400,000 vehicles. Europe will need more than 10 of those plants by 2025. Our experts are currently working on future, more optimized production lines. Both in Schwarzheide and in Hayerwalter, we have the room, the space, and the infrastructure. We can expand and meet the demands of the industry and the challenges of the future. On behalf of the entire team and BASF, I can say that we're proud. We're proud to be a part of this strategic value chain, and that we are able, with our high-energy cathode active material, make a contribution to the economy and society. Let me finish by saying this. Congratulations to the Division of Battery Materials and the Schwarzheide location on today's symbolic groundbreaking. Once again, thank you everyone who allowed us to take this step. I hope that in the upcoming months we will be able to celebrate further milestones. I'd certainly be glad to be there. Mr. Schumacher, thank you very much for this profound insight into the new plant and the potential, and also for the sneak peek into the future. For the moment, a quick goodbye. I'll see you again in just a few moments, but in the next 30 minutes, we would like to focus on electric mobility, on its value when it comes to fulfilling the goals of the European Green Deal. Let me introduce our panelists. Let us welcome Maros Šefčovič, Vice President of the EU Commission, Commissioner for Interinstitutional Relations and Foresight. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
We would also like to welcome our Federal Minister for Economic Affairs and Energy, Peter Altmaier. Welcome to you as well. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Hello, Ms. Schöner, and everybody who's joined us. And also, we'd like to welcome Dr. Dietmar Woidke, the Minister President of the Federal State of Brandenburg. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Ms. Schöner. And greetings to everyone. And we'd also like to welcome once again Uwe Liebelt, President, European Side and Verbund Management, and also Chairman of the Supervisory Board of Schwarzheide. Thank you for joining us from Ludwigshafen. These will be our panelists for the next 30 minutes for this very exciting topic. And let me start with you, Mr. Liebel, by increasing the field here, the playing field. And let me ask you, what opportunities and chances do you see for the chemical industry when it comes to the European Green Deal?
Well, let me first of all say, Ms. Schoen, I can see a good balance between challenges and opportunities. It's not going to be easy. It's a Herculean task for all of us. But if we do so smartly, I think we can focus more on the opportunities than on the challenges. And I think I can say that for the entire chemical business, it can be a great opportunity. The chemical business can be a driver and role model for the challenges we face. Why am I saying that? As you all know, the energy transition does require innovation. Let's talk about battery technology. Let's talk about CO2-free production of hydrogen. Let's talk about synthetic fuels. All this is chemistry, and we can be the driver of that. The European chemical industry is very innovative, which is why I think that we have the strength to manage that. At the same time, we have to look at our manufacturing processes and the way we generate electricity. We have to change that. That requires a lot of innovation, and I can tell you that we have well-founded hope because the technology already exists. Many things have already been developed. What we now need are the proper legal frameworks. If we have those, then we can be successful. Let me mention a few of them. First of all, most important thing is we need renewable energy, sufficient renewable energy at competitive prices. And I think all of us know that we need to speed up the expansion of renewable energies. We need to upgrade the electricity grids, and the wish we in the chemical business have is that we must reduce tariffs and fees for renewable electricity, because currently this is a big limit for why we do not use more of renewable electricity. If we do not manage to decouple tariffs from electricity prices, but if we are successful, this might be a great boost for the chemical business and other companies. And what we are seeing today, the integration of legal frameworks and business model, is a successful thing. Mr. Liebel, thank you to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Liebel. So let me bring on board Mr. Altmaier. You yourself have said that this is a key technology when it comes to electric mobility, and that we here in Germany should maintain our technological sovereignty. Mr. Altmaier, how do you view the groundbreaking today in Schwarzheide?
It's a great day, I have to tell you. And in Schwarzheide, BASF is going to write both German and European history. But there are many, many initiatives throughout Europe, and I'd like to thank Maroš Šefčovič, the Vice President of the EU Commission, who played a very, very active and important role, because he initiated the European Battery Alliance at a time when hardly anyone believed that Europe would ever get into battery manufacturing and development. He talked about this topic in the member states and with other players. And when I became economics minister, without hesitating for 1 second, I took the initiative and told people that we have to take this great idea of Mr. Šefčovič and implement it in the real world. And the first thing I did is I pledged 1 billion euros from my budget in order to fund projects. We talked with our neighboring countries, with France, and this 1 billion from Germany has turned into 5 billion, and BASF got one of the first project why we said, okay, we want to support is because BASF has been a traditional partner for us for many years, and only with know-how of companies such as BASF we will be able to achieve our goals. In Europe, we will never be able to produce the cheapest batteries, but we can make the best ones and the most sustainable ones, the most eco-friendly ones. And to that end, we need the know-how of companies who've been in that field for many, many years. And the aforementioned project can be a role model for the entire world, which is why I'm so optimistic, and which is why we keep our fingers crossed that you can be successful. Many people believed that with what we did, we might undo market principles, that we tell companies what to do, but the opposite is true. We told companies, well, that is an important field, and if you want it, then we are going to support you, then we're going to help you. And more than 60 companies, important companies, told us that they want to be part of that, and this project is one of the first ones where we were able to give our state aid. We gave the first such aid to a project in Ellwangen. My undersecretary gave the check a couple of weeks ago to Schwarzheide, and we just had a big event in Kaiserslautern where by 2024 we will create 2,000 jobs in the battery production field. And all this is only possible because we cover everything from raw materials, precursors, finished products and recycling. We cover the entire value chain, and this will lead to the creation of tens of thousands of jobs here in Europe, and many of those jobs will be here in Germany, which is why we keep our fingers crossed, and we would like to express our gratitude and our best wishes for all staff here in Germany and Finland and other BASF sites who are going to work in this new field. We would also extend our best wishes to staff in Shanghai, whom we visited last year. We are convinced that all of you will strengthen BASF, the business side of Europe, and the brand made in Germany.
Mr. Altmaier, we will be able to talk to Mr. Šefčovič about the European Battery Alliance, but you touched upon a very important topic. It's one thing to say we create highly efficient battery technologies, but sustainability is also of high significance. Maybe you could comment on that as well, also with regard to how that will secure us a global advantage.
Well, we live in a world with 8 billion people at some point. Most of us will live in that world. And of course, the question which is always discussed controversially, will we be able to have enough raw materials, have enough products in order to enable people a life worth living as we are used to? And this can only work if we achieve higher resource efficiency, if we do not use all the materials of this earth within a few generations, but rather develop a circular economy. And this is one condition for market economy and prosperity to be sustained for billions of people in the future. We used to build products in the past, and when their life cycle came to an end, we just thought what to do with it. And maybe we thought, why not recycle those products? But this was very difficult because the products were not designed for that purpose. And here BASF is on an innovative journey because right from the establishment of the manufacturing process, it has recycling in mind. And this is one of the big progresses that we've made in the field of resource efficiency. By the way, Germany is a leader in the field of recycling. Over the last couple of years, we saw an increase of 50%, and I believe it's a true gold mine because this way millions of car batteries can be reused, and Mr. Brudermüller, whom I like to congratulate and extend my best wishes from here, he told me a couple of days ago at another event that today we can electrify almost everything, steel production, chemical businesses in many fields. And if we do so with renewable electricity, and if we recycle products afterwards, we can not only be climate neutral, but we could also, on an economic basis, we can ensure that we will not overextend our planet. These are our goals, and you are leading the way, and I hope others will follow suit.
Thank you, Mr. Altmaier, for your contribution, and I'm very sure that Mr. Brudermüller is watching us. Let me talk to Mr. Schumacher now. Mr. Altmaier touched upon many topics. What innovation potential do you see, and what contribution can the chemical industry and BASF make here?
Thank you. It's a wonderful question because the potential of the lithium-ion battery is by no means exhausted. You can picture a battery like a little chemical plant. The chemical process is crucial for a future generation of batteries. And what Mr. Altmaier just said, I'd like to reiterate, we want to have the best possible battery technology in the world. We already have a wonderful technology, and in the short term, it will be further developed. In my presentation, I talked about 80 to 90% of nickel content, which increases energy density. It reduces cost. Finally, you will be more resource efficient per unit of energy, and this automatically reduces the CO2 footprint. But these are only the short and medium-term potentials. With the aforementioned batteries, if they come to the end of their life cycle, we enter raw materials recycling in order to regain the metals contained therein. And this is also about being as efficient and low energy as possible. This, once again, is chemistry. And then we continue from there. We won't just stop there. It's a technologically highly exciting and challenging field. The battery is a chemical system. You have to harmonize cathode and anode, and a lot is talked about getting the lithium anode. Whether this will be a solid-state battery or a liquid battery is not quite finished yet. It's still open to discussion, but it's all about optimizing cathode material, harmonizing it with the anode and lithium, which will enable quantum leap, so to speak, as far as cost and performance is concerned. And in the end, all this will make the battery more attractive to the customer. A lot remains to be done, but let me finally say on the long-term foresight, one is the product side, the other is the manufacturing side. And I said that reducing CO2 footprint in manufacturing is highly important to us. We are establishing a highly efficient process in Schwarzheide, but we look at the entire value chain from the metal ore to the final cathode material. And maybe the next step is optimizing the interfaces between the manufacturing processes. This is far beyond what we can achieve with the chemical side. So I'm looking very positively into the future, and I'd also would like to thank everyone for their support, in particular to Ministry for the support they gave to us.
Thank you very much for your commentary. That was highly specific. Let us broaden the field a little bit. We've talked about the European Battery Alliance, and now we would like to take a look at how far we've come. Mr. Šefčovič, we're very glad to have you with us today, and I would like to ask you to let us know what we've accomplished so far. Where do we stand today?
Vielen lieben Dank für Ihre freundlichen Worte. And I also would like to start with a sincere congratulations to the hard-working people in BASF, and especially Mr. Brudermüller and Mr. Liebelt, who are representing the company so well. And my very good friend and colleague, Minister Altmaier, just said that today we are writing the history, and I totally agree with him. And I still have in my memory very vivid pictures of the region Lausitz, where Minister President Dear Dietmar, Mr. Wojtke invited me when we've been looking or what can we do better for the coal regions? How can we help them with the transition to the future-oriented technologies? And today this is happening, and I think that all of us have really a great feel of satisfaction. What we have achieved, what we have accomplished, I think if we look at the fact that first time we discussed the idea of European Battery Alliance, or making sure that we are going to build the globally competitive, sustainable and innovative battery ecosystem in Europe, that happened only less than 3 years ago. So I think we have clearly demonstrated that if the Europe puts in mind and energy and creativity into something, that we can really and very quickly become the global leader. Today, the European Battery Alliance is kind of home for 500 most impressive companies from all across the Europe, covering the whole value chains. And we have now 15 gigafactories which are being built at this stage. So we are confident that we would be able between 2025 and 2030
to satisfy all car manufacturers with the battery supply. And not only that, we will make sure that European batteries would be the greenest, most sustainable, and the safest on this planet with the lowest carbon footprint. Because this is, I think, what distinguishing us from everybody else in the global market. And this is how we are also going to prepare the new regulatory framework for batteries, which we are finalizing and which we want to present before the end of the year. All this accomplishment was possible because we've been listening very carefully to the industry. We've been creating the framework, we've been discussing with them, we've been listening to their advice, and we also talked to the financial industry. And I really am very thankful to the European Investment Bank for investing already almost 4 billion euros in promoting promoting the projects from the area of smart mobility. And this year only, they allocated almost 1 billion for financial projects in this field. And I'm sure that in the years to come, we will continue. Peter Altmaier was very kind to mention the role of the Commission and also the importance of the important projects of the common European interest. It was our first IPCEI project where my good colleague Margaret Vestager was extremely helpful, because we found a way how we can use the state aid mechanism to kickstart this very important industry for the future of the European Union. And today's groundbreaking ceremony is a clear manifestation that it worked, because BASF was part of the first IPCEI, which brought almost 8 billion euros of investment into these companies. And I hope that now the second IPCEI, which is led by Germany, would be even more impressive. And I think that thanks to all these measures, Europe is now clearly the hottest zone for investment into the battery sectors. We are investing between 2 to 3 times more in Europe than what is happening in China. And by mid of this decade, we clearly will be number 2 in the volume of the production of the batteries after China. But we will be in front of the United States and the rest of Asia. And I'm absolutely 100% sure that what we will produce, after especially listening to the presentation from BASF, that this would be, as I said, the most sustainable, the safest, and the greenest batteries on this planet.
Sie haben gerade schon gesagt, in den letzten 3 Jahren hat sich natürlich wahnsinnig viel getan. Vielleicht können Sie für uns noch mal zusammenfassen, welche Maßnahmen tatsächlich in der EU-Politik bereits ergriffen wurden, damit dieses funktionierende
Maybe you can talk to us what might be done in order to make this functioning ecosystem work. I'm not quite sure.
I think that what is very important is really to have that industrial vision, which we have seen also today from the companies like BASF, but also very strong political support. And I don't think I can thank enough to Peter Altmaier how he dramatically helped European Battery Alliance to be formed, to be supported, and he was one of the first strong supporters in creating this European strong battery ecosystem. And I think what we need now, there are, of course, several very important steps. I think we have to continue to support that growth, that enthusiasm, that positive energy which we feel from this battery ecosystem. We will be working very hard, and I'm glad that we will be able to present this new battery regulatory framework still under the German presidency, also thanks to the great cooperation with Peter. And then I think we'll have to focus on the continuous flows of investment, where the European Investment Bank would be very crucial, but also this new massive European budget and the next generation EU financial instrument, where we are going very clearly finance the priorities of the Green Deal and digitalization in our economy, which means, for example, that for the research or innovation in battery sectors, we are thinking about allocating almost 1 billion euros for promoting such innovative projects as we are debating today. What would be the major challenge, I would say, for the next years to come? I think it would be critical raw materials. Therefore, we took the model of the European Battery Alliance as an example. How can we put again the important players in Europe to make sure that we would have adequate and secure supply of the critical raw materials for our battery production? And what I hear more and more from the industry, and I think that this is a challenge for all of us, how can we upskill the people? How can we have enough mechanical engineers who would be able to develop that know-how and manufacture this highest of quality batteries? Because I think our common goal here is to contribute to the European Green Deal by making sure that also in the future, the best, safest, cleanest and greenest cars on the planet will be manufactured here in Europe.
Mr. Šefčovič, thank you very much to you. You said a lot will need to be done in the future and the priorities of our focus shifts. Thank you very much for this update. And Mr. Voigtke, I'd like to talk to you to get the perspective from the state coming down from the European perspective, because of course this plant has a high significance for the region, in particular if you want to maintain leadership in that field. That's absolutely right. And of course, we are utterly delighted to have been given this investment in Brandenburg. And this is the pinnacle for the development at the site over the last 30 years. This year, we celebrated a lot of anniversaries, which were only to celebrate partially the way we wanted to. But 30 years of Schwarzheide was one of those anniversaries. And I believe this big investment made this year is going to show that the site has a big significance for BASF as a whole. And this has a lot to do with the fact that we can implement a lot what many companies want to have, which is directly integrating renewable energy in the manufacturing process. This has also something to do with the fact that the framework conditions are great at our state, at this site, but we've worked on this for the last 30 years, and this has always had the support of the state government. And we already heard during the presentations that the cooperation is not just a cooperation between business and state government, but also including the federal government and the European Commission, including Mr. Šefčovič, whom I greatly admire and appreciate. He was here at the site, so he knows what he's talking about. And the investment this year is an important signal, not just as far as climate-neutral industrial production is concerned, but it's also an important signal for the region that is facing imminent phasing out of lignite mining. So this is a great signal for the creation of new, secure, climate-neutral jobs. And I believe in particular in a region which has gone through or will face these big structural changes, these type of signals are of great significance because they offer a perspective to the people, give them hope, and they are going to show that CO2 neutral production is possible as of today, and that it creates jobs as of today. And this will certainly be a role model for the future as far as climate neutrality is concerned. And so, against this backdrop, what happens in Schwarzheide is a role model for Europe, if not for the entire world.
I think we can also state that you're very lucky when it comes to future-oriented projects such as Tesla. Maybe you could comment on the potential of electric mobility, and what do you think, what kind of structures do we need to create, for example, when it comes to charging structures?
Well, the basis for electromobility is climate neutrality. This is what we should always keep in mind, and I'm grateful to every one of my previous speakers who said the very same thing, because e-mobility is to be associated with climate neutrality, not only as far as the product itself is concerned, a climate neutral vehicle, which is to be driven with climate neutral electricity, but here in the state of Brandenburg, we are currently experiencing a lot of investment, both at BASF and other partners, into a climate-neutral production process. Many medium-sized companies already put a great deal of emphasis on their manufacturing to take place in a climate-neutral fashion. So we here in Brandenburg, we have the biggest per capita generation of renewable electricity. This will increasingly be important not just for manufacturing, but also for marketing purposes. In many fields, it's become standard that customers ask about the CO2 footprint. And for example, the products Tesla is going to make will precisely fit into this pattern. Tesla want to know from every supplier about their carbon footprint during manufacturing, and that creates a lot of opportunities for nearby businesses. And apart from automotive manufacturing, and Tesla, of course, is a big symbol for that, there is a lot of going on in many other areas which are hardly in the public eye, but which are equally important. In particular, I think about the expansion of the railway maintenance works in Cottbus, because electric propulsion in railway will be even more important. At University of Cottbus, there is research going on climate neutral flying. A lot of research is being done there, and I could mention many more. If I think of all the projects, I think I can say that we are the state that is going to show how climate neutral mobility will look in the future. And obviously, this is a very positive trend for us. But on the other hand, and I have to say that, this always requires an expansion of renewable energies. And this is what BASF is going to make use of. And it was said before, Mr. Jürgen Fuchs said it, that we also wish that the framework conditions for electricity generation done in the region is transferred to the municipalities and to the businesses, but all this will have to be simplified. And I believe that we have a lot of opportunities if we manage that. And we can be a role model in order to show how the economy of the future might work and how prosperity of the future can take place in a climate neutral fashion. I think we are on a good path there. And it feels very good to be part of that process. It fits our state, and I think the successful development is only at its very beginning.
Mr. Voigtke, we're running out of time, unfortunately. Thank you very much for your important contribution. If we want to achieve the targets of the EU Commission, we cannot focus on just one technology. Thank you very much also for this perfect transition to the topic of framework conditions. Mr. Liebelt, renewable energy is nice and well, but there's always a second aspect. What challenges do you see in the use of these renewable energies?
Well, you see, Ms. Schön, we want to make Europe the first climate neutral continent in the world by 2050. And in order to achieve that, we need lots and lots of renewable energy. Whether it is 2 times or 3 times as much as we are currently getting is open to a question, but it is significantly more than we are currently producing and consuming. And if you look at what we've already achieved, we have made a great deal of progress in that field, but we have to speed these things up. Second thing, it has to be available at the point of consumption. And this is still a problem both here in Germany and in Europe. It's a matter of grids. We have to speed up the expansion there as well. And if I look at the other frameworks, conditions, tariffs, and surcharges, the renewable energy surcharges have to be removed here in Germany. Just to put it simply, we believe if that is done, then many more investments will be made by businesses which are currently not being made. And one other important support schemes. IPCEI is a very good example of how things should be done. If people see what is possible if there are the proper frameworks, this is a great signal. We have a lot of important new technologies that have to be implemented now. And this is often the case with new technologies. There is a big gap between the business case of new technologies and the costs that we face on the other side. From my perspective, this gap, and in particular at the beginning of a new technology when it's being phased in, this gap has to be bridged, which is why IPCEI is such a great example on how to do that. But this focuses on investment costs, but operating costs is another factor. The operating costs of very novel technologies are many times higher than with conservative, well-established technologies, which had the benefit of learning for 20, 30 years on how to decrease costs. And the federal government made a very good suggestion for the hydrogen strategy, which is the contract for difference, which is I hope will be implemented very soon. And the last point I'd like to make is that we need to have incentives for customers so that customers want to buy new products and that customers want to support the manufacturing of eco-friendly products, because this then would cover the entire chain from the raw material producers via the manufacturers to the end customers, which is something we are currently not seeing. This was my wish list, if you will. And I'd also like to say, yes, there are challenges, but there are always ways to overcome these challenges. And today we are seeing what's possible.
Thank you very much. That was a long wish list. Mr. Altmaier, that means for you that we'll be very quick to let you go. But how can politics help?
Well, the government, first and foremost, gave its support and made sure that all stakeholders in businesses and the economy as whole, who have always said that batteries need to be produced in Europe, that this building block for value creation have to be given support. And we are seeing that it was worthwhile. We see that with the vehicle manufacturers, battery producers, and other businesses, we have a new sense of optimism. Second thing, we gave seed funding. No one should believe that there is not enough money, but it's important to put it to important use. Thirdly, we bring all the stakeholders in the value chains together, such as with the conferences of the Battery Alliance, as with the conferences that we host within the frame of the EU presidency. And this way, we enable the formation of networks, and we are determined to also help for all these new initiatives to be given a chance not just to be founded, but also to establish themselves and be successful in the market. And part of that is that starting with the raw materials policy to regulatory frameworks and other support is given. We will amend our renewable energy legislation. I did understand what Mr. Bruder-Müller said time and again. We will have to make sure that renewable electricity will be available at competitive prices, which, by the way, is no easy task. Most facilities for renewable electricity were approved with feed-in tariff subsidies of 10 to almost 40 cents per kilowatt hours. But the electricity, which is internationally competitive, costs about 5 to 4 cents per kilowatt hours. And this is the task we have to solve together. This year, we made sure that the electricity prices will not rise over the next 2 years, including the renewable energy surcharge. Of course, this will have to be reduced further. We also decided that we want to support and subsidize the creation of green hydrogen. And I'd like to tell you that when it is about what BASF just addressed and what Mr. Voigtke said as well, when it is about enabling to achieve that with direct supply contracts from generators to industrial consumers, and then if the manufacturing process becomes climate neutral, we are in for that. I've always said that a strong economy can only be strong if it is eco-friendly, but it can only be successful on the long term if the economy remains strong, if the business location of Germany remains strong. And to this end, we need to invest money. We need to create all the required conditions to that. We do this jointly, and this project is going to show how it's done.
I'm going to have to stop you here, unfortunately, despite your positive outlook, and I would love to continue discussing with you, and I hope we'll get a chance to do that. But for now, thank you all very much for your input, and also my gratitude towards you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for this virtual groundbreaking ceremony. Let us walk this path together, as Mr. Fuchs said. Stay safe, stay healthy.